Small noise there. So hi everybody and welcome to our launch session to tell you all about what's going on at European Rotors this year. For those who don't know me, my name's John Franklin and I'm head of the safety promotion team here in Cologne at the European Union Aviation Safety Agency, EASA. And I'm joined today by our show director. Frank, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yep. Hi, thanks John for the invite. Thanks for the initiative. I'm Frank Liemandt. I'm the show director for European Rotors, and I'm also the general manager of the German Helicopter Association.
So what we're going to do today is just go through all the different things we've got. We've got a really exciting show that we've been putting together this year. So we wanted to explain a little bit more about that because, Frank, it's always the way, isn't it? We get questions from people about which day should I come, what's going on. And today the ticket shop opens. So hopefully this really helps people know when to come, when to get tickets, what to do, and really learn more about what's going on.
It's a perfect match, actually. Really, yes. We have the ticket shop opening today, and we have a summer sale, so it's really worth booking it early. And I think it's not a spoiler if I say go for the full day ticket, but we dive into that a little bit later.
Yeah, we've got lots to talk about, and I think hopefully everybody finds it useful for the audience. We've got. I was going to ask if you have any questions throughout, if you use the chat function that we have within our WebEx tool, and then Frank and I will answer whatever questions come up during the session. If you have any technical problems, similarly, I would advise you to try it on a Chrome browser. We find that fixes most things, but yeah, again, use the chat function. We'd love to hear any questions or any thoughts you have about what we're going to talk about today. So we're going to get into a little bit, and one of the key things I think about European Rotors is that it doesn't matter what you do in this amazing part of the aviation industry, there's something for you at European Rotors every single year. Whether you're flying a small helicopter, whether you're in, a private pilot, there's lots of cool equipment, lots of great things to see and lots to learn. Similarly, if you're perhaps a smaller operator, and we know there are thousands of those across Europe, it's a great place to come and learn and network. And then similarly, if you're involved in kind of the really big operations with big helicopters, there's lots of that kind of stuff too. And I think, we were talking about this, Frank, before we started, weren't we? It's really all about the collaboration and bringing the industry together to meet up once a year and really have those discussions.
It's such a unique concept of this show that I always say it's the chart of the regulator, the industry, and the operator coming together, talking about current challenges, talking about the future of vertical aviation and becoming more safe and more also, yes, of course, operationally better by just cooperating. And what you mentioned before is so unique as well, that it's not only, it's a B2B event, but also B2C, because we talk to the flight students, we talk to the PPL people who may want to simply buy a lovely new helicopter. So we really have the full bandwidth of all the branches and of all the users.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that's amazed me, and it's been quite an exciting journey that we've been on. I remember when we were building up to the 2021 first show. We had the digital series. There's me on the roof of the EASA building, looking across at the Messe, thinking, "Whoa, this new event moving from previously where we had the EASA Rotorcraft Symposium, and then there were all sorts of different shows. There was Helitech, there were other things, and then to bring all of this together into one event and then bounce between having it in Cologne like we have this year and moving it into different parts of Europe. It's been such an exciting journey we've been on.
As a tribute, I'm wearing a white shirt again, as I was doing at the the series. Believe me, it's not the same. At least I think so. It's washed. So first thing is a big shout out to all the three of you, and I'm lucky that we still continue our cooperation. But a shout out to Clément Audin, who has actually left the EASA, but without him, this show would have not been possible to be done from EASA side, and also David Solar, who is with us, but as you have seen maybe over LinkedIn and other posts, he's leaving his position, and without the strong contribution from the three of you, this show wouldn't have been possible. And just one looking back to where where we started, you had to go on the rooftop because you were obliged to wear a face mask back then, and you had to find a spot where you can do it because you were not in your office. You recall that? So those
And
were
that
the
was the thing.
days.
Yeah, we were making this. I remember the digital series. Yeah, and I was in the office, and the only way I could do that for a prolonged period of time was by going on the roof, because
Yeah,
I'd have had to sit at my desk with a mask on,
yeah,
because we were
yeah.
also, yeah, what a different world that was.
My gosh.
And then all these journeys, you know, trying to put in those protocols the first year in Cologne.
Right.
Ironically, I actually caught COVID at the Madrid show, the year after as well, in 2022. So yeah, it's been a journey,
It's
and
been a
you know,
journey.
it's exciting to look ahead. And you
Yeah.
know, one of the things that's useful to mention, I think, straight away is, you know, we're going to have some more of these pre-event webinars talking about some
Yes.
different topics between now and the show during the week that's taking place the week of the 17th to the 20th of November. So maybe we get straight onto that part. So this is kind of the big thing. If you don't know already, and this is a sign that we had in Amsterdam last year, but we have 4 days of events running from Monday the 17th to the 20th of November. Maybe you can talk a bit more about all the different kind of headline things about the show.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we returned to our place of birth. We returned to Cologne. We started the event in Cologne because EASA is located in Cologne, and we had a historical reason because the EASA symposium was always held in Cologne. And it's simply for us, as back then EHA, now European Rotors GmbH, as the organizer, it has so much advantages to have the regulator with this full personal strength being so close to us, and Cologne simply offers us a fantastic venue, a fantastic fair. I personally still am completely overwhelmed by this big LED screen in front of Hall 8,
Yeah.
and I love it, yeah. There is so much great opportunity to be there. We are completely close to the so-called Conference Center North, so it all matches to have not long distances. If you want to go into any of the breakout sessions, we come to that later when you show us the hall floor, and we simplified not only the ticketing system but the system, the way you can digest the conference and workshop program.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing is, we've got so many activities here. We've got the EASA Rotorcraft Symposium. We're going to talk about that. We've got all the different summits, the exhibitions, the different demonstrations.
Yeah.
We've got rooms and stages, and it kind of all starts with this this great space that we have in the
Yes.
Conference Centre North. And actually, I haven't got on that picture the TV screen, but I've got lots of selfies in front of it from previous years. But it all starts in there, and then we go into the show floor. So what you see, you come in from the lobby on the right hand side of this image, and we've got a full exhibit hall again this year.
Yeah, that's really worth to mention now. If you may jump back to the slide before to just
Yeah.
separate a little bit. So that's where you on land, either with when you come with your own car, or we come with a taxi, or you walk. It's so pretty well connected to the train stations there in Cologne, and you see that little 8. So that's Hall 8, and the big door in the middle shows you the boulevard. Actually, the boulevard will also have boosters this year, so it means we grow. And isn't that incredible? In 2021, there was some space left in the hall, and now
Yeah, I
we have
remember.
been
Yeah.
grown out of Hall 8. So and that's really a sign, and a big thank to our exhibitors and everyone who trusts and was believing in us, that this show is growing so significantly. So you see to the right, you see the Hall 8, and you see to the left, you see the Conference Center North. Downstairs, you're going to have the symposium, and then you see the escalators leading you up to the second floor, where we have the workshop and breakout sessions. And the good news is we have the stages back in the hall together with the rotor safety zone to keep, at least, let me say, the majority of the traffic and the people in the hall for the major small presentations, the best practice examples, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, and I think that's really exciting as well. As you say, is I remember that first year when the hall was half full, were kind of 2/3 full, and then we had the helicopters filling up the back half of it. So we had a full hall, but we spaced the helicopters out a little bit.
Right.
And now the whole thing's full. We've got helicopters everywhere. We've got the big manufacturers bringing their stuff, all sorts of training companies and equipment manufacturers, and you name it, it's about helicopters, it's there. And then we've got the rotorcraft safety zone at the back there that our team will be running with ESP&R, with all sorts of great demos. We'll talk about that a bit more in a minute. We've got the stages there as well in that same area at the side, and then, as you say, the trainings in that conference centre north, in that other side of the building.
Yeah,
there.
that's on the
But it
second
keeps everything
floor,
together.
and we're gonna fill the Rheinsaal sections 1 to 6 with all the things which need a little bit more discussion, shall be a little bit more interactive, where you can, yes, you have to then carve out some of your time which you may spend in the hall, and you have to dedicate that time, but I'm sure it's going to worth it. And if we look back to where we started and where the reasons why we have so much things, and the conference is when I was asked how would you do the show as the show director and with kind of what strategy, it was always, honestly, the hall is, you can walk it in half an hour on once an hour. And yes, of course, if you meet people, then you start to talk and you deep dive it. But there is no reason for you to stay 3 days if you don't have extremely interesting stuff where you can sit down, learn, and look into it. So that's the reason why we are really combining a conference with an exhibition.
Yeah, I think it's a great mix, and it does. As we said earlier, it doesn't matter what you do in the industry. There's different parts of the agenda for you, and
Right.
you can come for the way the ticketing works. You'll be able to come for one day if there's some focus bits you want to see, so you don't miss out on the opportunity of coming. But likewise, there's enough to keep people occupied if you have the chance for 3 days, or 4 days, even if you include the EASA symposium as well. So there's lots of possibilities,
and that's our goal. We want everyone to stay the full time because it's worth it.
And I think that's the thing. There's only 1 week of the year where
Right.
the European industry comes together like this. So
Yes.
hopefully everybody sees the value. And that's part of our job, and all of the rest of us that are organising this, is to make sure that everybody who comes gets as much as they can out of the time they're here. And that's kind of every minute of what we're trying to do here is to set that up.
Also, cross-reference wise, we hardly invite people from the offshore branch to listen to something from the HAMS part or the other way around, because we in our helicopter world, we are so much set up and so much differentiated, and everyone says, okay, I'm aerial worker, I don't bother about offshore. And this is where the problem starts. We have to unify and really see where our safety promotion and where is the next chapter of good inventions made, maybe in a branch which is not my primary one, but I may learn from it.
Yeah, indeed. And maybe it's a good time to talk about some of the key themes that we have this year.
Sure.
So these are kind of the main areas. Maybe I'll just go through some of them, and some of them obviously overlap, but it's that, talking about safety, and particularly human factors, the human element. And we've got lots of different activities specifically around things like decision making and situational awareness, looking at specific types of operations and other things. Obviously, we focus a lot on the certification, the regulation, and that side of things. Pretty much, well, certainly much of the stands, and also an awful lot of the agenda will be talking about technology and innovation. We're going to be going into specific types of operation. We're going to be talking about training, lots of things with simulators and different training devices. We're going to be talking about maintenance and repair and overhaul. And then the other part is also then on the Thursday with the focus on careers. And then the whole event is all about networking, which there's so much we're covering. What are the key kind of standout kind of theme areas for you then, Frank?
And I think what is so important, and this is, I mean, the flagship still in the conference remains Monday with the EASA symposium, because you bring us a different clientele, right? People who are interested in certification, regulation, and normally may not go to a show or to an event. They attend, and they are good then for our people at the booths to talk with them, because they are not the usual suspects, and that brings the quality, especially also in the networking, then for our exhibitors. I think that's one of our USPs as well.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Glad that you raised that, and maybe that's a good time to just start talking about what's what all the other things we've got going on. So we start on Monday with the EASA Rotorcraft Symposium, and at that point, people are going to be setting up the exhibit halls, but we've got a focused, lots of discussion focusing on safety in the operational landscape, and as an industry, are we all worrying about the same challenges? Our colleagues in certification are going to update on a number of hot certification topics. We're going to particularly be talking about well-being, psychosocial health and safety, all of these kind of softer things that helps us operate safely as an industry, which is an exciting addition. We're going to be talking about different operational challenges and safety risks. And then the other bit that we've had a lot of feedback from the EASA side, particularly from the rotorcraft community and our EASA rotorcraft community committee, is to have a specific session focused on Part IS and cybersecurity and how that links to the safety risks. And I think, as you say, Frank, that symposium helps to bring a slightly different strategic audience. It helps to focus our discussions at the start of the week, kind of almost get on the same page before then so many other things happen throughout the week.
Absolutely, and it is always a highlight for me to listen to it and to see really what's also going up in the regulation way. But you have this interactive dialogue which you are really promoting over European Rotors. It's not only here you go, but it's you invite your audience to actively be part of it and talk about it and see it from their perspective.
Yeah, indeed. And then if we move into the Tuesday now, so Tuesday's the DAC day. We have lots of summits, all sorts of different topics. We're talking about hydrogen-powered drones, electromanned HEMS, very specific topics like RMPAR procedures. We have the Rotathon starting, lots of things, digital systems, pilot skills, discussing particularly the how to say no. We have a lot of accidents, particularly one of the big safety challenges we have from our analysis is VFR to IMC, and particularly kind of press on ITIS, and the challenges, particularly if you're a small operator, saying no to the customer is not an easy thing to do. So I think that's a key part of the event. Talking about finance and leasing as well. What are the standout things on the Tuesday for you there, Frank?
I mean, as you started, of course, we are in Germany and close to Austria and Switzerland, and we have a strong Swiss association always supporting us very well. So they brought up the idea again to have a Swiss innovation half day, and so we summed it up to say, okay, let's do it a DACH day. So we have Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. There are so many great things happening, and let's talk about some of the innovation stuff in that key area. But yeah, you already mentioned, I mean, the how to say no is really, if I may mention one thing, this is my personal highlight for this year, because I have been talking to so many different people from the scene saying, my goodness, I finished that flight but not because of my skills, but I was lucky, and there were several times when I should have said no to myself. That's where we start. As you said, it could be a demanding customer to a helicopter pilot, say, we continue this flight, how to challenge that situation, how to go on with that situation. Or it could be the KMO manager, as you said, or the technician or the MRO guy saying, guy, this machine isn't ready to fly. Or the paramedic to say, this HEMS mission definitely does not make sense, dear pilot. So, and all the feedback I got was, Frank, we have never talked about that completely honest in a way that we come up also with our own cases. So we do that, and actually that spreads over 2 days. We have so many great candidates raising their hands saying, I'd like to contribute with my own case. And by the way, this will be opened up by our EHA chairman, Frederick Kempfer, who it's a fixed wing case, but so that's very, very prominently put. And the Rototon, yeah, it's fantastic that we have students competing live over a given challenge. They have 48 hours to come up with their own solution. It's kind of a free consultancy for us, but it's also getting some fresh ideas out of students, people, what kind of solution they see for a given problem. And it's good for us to connect with them, because this is the next generation engineers, which we need desperately, for our scene. I'm very proud that isn't mentioned here that we're going to have high politicians also joining us for the opening ceremony. We have confirmed so far the Minister of Transport from Northern Rhine-Westphalia, Oliver Krischer, to be with us for cutting the ribbon. That's important to have this acknowledgement also, because we shall not only talk about and to ourselves about safety improvement, but we have to bang the drums for the helicopter, the rotorcraft activities, the sake to the society, the issues which we have also with, for instance, funding next generation of sustainability and so on and so forth. And yes, there is so much to look in it. Finance and leasing is always a big part on, if you're a smaller operator, are you having in mind that the value of your helicopters are decreasing? Are you leveling that? Are you aware of how you should handle that? And we will also touch with a little bit of provocative, we end up with two provocative things, like, is there still a market for eVTOLs? We have some bad news, but where is the thrust? Where is the market? And we will talk about, are drones stealing your business as the rotorcraft people? Because we have to wake up the rotorcraft community to look into complementary usage of things like next generation drones. So it's a full day. Plan it well, but you're gonna find time to walk the show as well, because we don't start any of our conference, for instance, before 11 a.m. So you have, once the show opens, you have at least 1 hour where it's completely free and there's nothing happening, and you can digest an early hour just to walk the floor and see all the beautiful booths and helicopters.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way of good opportunity it gives for people, and you know, people are moving around, and it's always good to see all the interactions that happen during the show. I always love that. So then we move on to the Wednesday, and we're into HEMS, the HEMS Day, focusing also on sustainability. Got all sorts of great topics to talk about, MRO and HUMS, talking about pilot profiles, second part of how to say no. I love this, surviving an audit. I
Isn't
thought
it
the
nice?
discussions, that's what a great topic. Yeah, how many
Isn't it?
people have that challenge?
Yeah.
So focusing on that, getting the law enforcement in. I know in previous years, yeah, we've had lots of people from law enforcement community at the show, but having their own session, I think, is really important as well, and embracing that part of the industry.
Yes, that's what I mean, we have to have a footprint on all the different branches, because European Rotors was, when we had the steering committee bringing it together, they said, look, and especially the OEM sellers, we're a little bit tired of traveling in Europe from this niche event to that other one. We'd like to have one 3-day event covering all. So this is the reason why on Tuesday we have also offshore content, for instance, a case study on a local airfield in northern Germany deploying stuff to the wind farms and others. And on Wednesday, as you mentioned, we have the HAMS Day and the law enforcement. Actually, the law enforcement is behind closed doors. So because they might want to talk tactics, so it's only by invitation only, or you have to send an email to say, I would like to be part of it. It's yeah, they want to make sure that nothing is spread, which is a little bit sensitive in kind of safety or security. You were mentioning the MRO and HUM stuff. That's all underneath, and sustainability, that's all underneath the so-called best practice thing, which we have introduced. In the beginning, we had so-called market news, where we wanted to give even smaller exhibitors the chance to highlight their products in a certain way. But that's somehow a little bit of easy marketing. So what we said is, come together with one of your customers explaining how she uses your product, and let them do the marketing for you and show how it is working in operations. Yeah, and that's very well perceived. So now it's always a double. It means it's the client and together with the industry or the OEM, whoever has that product or development on the market. And that's a very nice one. So it really helps you to understand how your product works in the market. And just to wrap it up with the HAMS Day, for the first time, we will not only do it on the stages, but in the afternoon, we switch to the helicopter and then have some interactive discussions around the helicopters. For instance, how to deal with contagious agents. We can do that around the helicopter, or how to integrate the pilot into the HEMS mission, letting him become somehow a crew member. How do you do that in planning during the operation? That's going to be fun as well, I think.
And I think that's the thing that always excites me. It's something I remember we talked about right at the very beginning, is this idea of moving around the show, and it's great that we've finally managed to really get that running. And the chance to, I don't think you can beat the chance to actually stand around a helicopter and talk with peers about practical problems we're all trying to solve in day-to-day operations. There's I don't know any other event where this kind of opportunity exists.
Me neither. And also, I mean, the rotor safety zone consists out of 3 ingredients, we could say. So it's going to be a HAMS helicopter. It's an 88C one and 135 with a hoist. It's going to be an R44. Especially for the PPL stuff like human factors or safety briefings, pre-flight checks, and everything, which is really useful for the, let me say, not that experienced pilots. And the third one is a sling load presentation rig where we can show sling load operations being supported by the ESP&R sling load group. And I 1 second, a big shout out to Michel Masson for putting together an incredible program for these 3 days in the rotor safety zone. And as you say, I don't think any other show has this live safety presentations, hands-on presentations with the fantastic group of ESP&R safety promotion people around helicopters right in the hall with silent conferencing, so we don't disturb the other booths around.
Yeah, I think it really works. It's great also to bring together the whole European Helicopter Association community, and it's been great to have their involvement in helping us find people to come and be part of that safety zone and all the other activities. So we move on and just quickly talk about the third day then, and before we talk more about the safety zone. So on the Thursday, we're focusing particularly on careers and kind of the future of the industry. We have the final part of the Rotathon. We talk about women in aviation. We have the career day, and then we've got lots of really special presentations, but I know two particularly we wanted to mention there was we have Claude Bouchard talking about aerology and performance. We have Bruce Webb from Airbus coming all the way from the US talking about flying blind, and it's great. It's the first time we managed to get Bruce over to European Rotors, so that's another great step forward as well. So yeah, we've got some pretty impressive people across those all 4 days that we'll be speaking, to be honest.
Yeah, so as you're mentioning it, when we were setting up European Rotors in 2019, the EASA Rotorcraft Symposium had some little booths already, so a little bit mouth-water what we planned for 2020, and then 2020 it was not able to do a show. But I first met, back then, I met Bruce Webb and said, oh my God, this is extraordinary what he's doing. Claude Bouchard I knew before from Aero in Friedrichshafen, and I always thought he is a magnet, and we have to have him. He has so many fantastic safety briefings, and he always finds his people to listen to. But to have Bruce Webb for the first time with us is really, that's fantastic. And one of my personal highlights is to see the results, as you were mentioning, from the rotor to the team. What kind of ideas have they evolve or had they when working it? We will also have the pricing ceremony for the online competition. There is a live and an online competition. There are 2 ones. I invite everyone to watch the videos which we're gonna display before about their solutions, because we want to give the chance also to international students groups. We have teams been winning from Egypt in the past, so that's really great to have that spread the word over, let me say, at least the EMEA region. That's going to be fantastic. Yeah, and women in aviation, come on, we cannot neglect 50% of potential workforce to be with us in the show and be with us in the branch, working for us, either as pilots or as engineers or even as mechanics. So that's be co-hosted by the new initiative European Rotorcraft Women, where Katrin Meyerhofer and, funny enough, myself are the co-founders of that. And it's really worth, and we do invite all the women who are at the show to join that, to be with us and to really listen to it. And Career Day, yeah, it's going to be a mix of students coming from local schools in Cologne and around the region. So if you are an employer, you have your people who are now at the point where they can think about where to start my career, where to make my exams, or where to really go for working. But we also invite flight students, because there will be flight schools or potential flight schools. How it is possible? Where is a flight school? What are the costs? Can I do how to do a theoretical training? So it covers it from all ends.
Yeah, I think there's so much going on. It's so exciting, and maybe we just finish by talking about the show with the rotor safety zone. We've touched on it already, and a key part of that also is that we have our 2 big topics of the year that we'll be launching our EASA safety promotion videos with, one with Mathieu van den Haven and Safety for Flight on iConspicuity, and then the other one with Mona Seeberger that we're working on another video with, and we might have a third video hopefully as well, but we see how that develops. And we've got so many great topics. We talked about saying no, passenger briefings, things like coping with weather, debunking safety myths, the role of pilots in really making safety of the industry. We talked about the sling load and Jonathan Hall and all the team that do the sling load work as part of ESPNR, managing emergencies, normalization of deviance. And we talk about Bruce coming, which is great. Actually, on the picture there, we've got Johnny Greenall, who has provided, he did some amazing briefings the last few European Rotors, and there are so many other speakers. It's kind of, hard to single anyone out, but I know Johnny's stuff's really, really cool. And there's so many really interesting presentations that Michel has lined up. I have to say he's done an amazing job already, and we're still sort of 3-4 months out from the show. So I'm really excited about the possibility of what's going to happen in the safety zone this year.
We are really thankful for, and you're mentioning for people like Johnny supporting us that much, because he brings his own helicopter from Mallorca, and that's great. I mean, this kind of contribution only gives us the baseline to grow this show. And I think we see the rig of the sling load demonstrations here in the back, and you can see this is this is different missions. So it's worth to talk about it. And as you say, it's really worth to stay or sit there. We have seats now. We know it's not that easy for you to stay and listen to it if you are on the concrete for the whole day. So it's gonna be better for you if you want to relax a little bit. Also, instead, I have a seat and listen to it, and it's the cherry on the cake for these kind of presentations. And if you were now a little bit confused about, what is happening where, that's so pretty easy. So in our educational program, when you click on the homepage, you're going to see whether it's either it's written Hall 8 stages, or it says Rotor Safety Zone, or it says Conference Center North. So you can't miss it actually, and you won't be confused. And just for the logic again, everything which we do in the hall, especially on the stages, is a little bit about a speed briefing, I would say 15 to 20 minutes. Yes, of course, you have your chances to ask questions over the silent conferencing, that is proven. But if you want to, again, deep dive a little bit more and have a broader discussion, really, and go away from that, say, okay, I learned a lot because I was able to ask my questions, to talk to the lecturer, then you go into the conference center where the things are happening about 45 to 60 minutes, or we have panel discussions which need a little bit more time. That's a little bit the logic behind.
And just to finish on that side of things, I think it links quite nicely to the ticket shop and the registration, and particularly how the ticketing has been simplified. So I've seen the emails come in, the ticket shop's now open.
Isn't that great?
EuropeanRotors.eu, perfectly timed.
Yeah.
It's almost as if we planned it this way. And the ticketing is now completely simplified. So there's no choosing individual sessions at the ticket shop stage. There's one all access four-day ticket for €240, which, how much value is that for 4 days for just €240? It's and that's the general price. And then there's other opportunities as well.
And remember, in the past, there were some of our training and workshops where we had to charge for, because we have trainers, and you mentioned the How to Survive an Audit. That's given by Joel Hanks, and he's also doing the auditor refresher training. And we have people volunteering for us, which is very kind. And we are still a young show, so we have to be very reasonable on budget. And I see my boss is here, Callum, our CEO from GmbH, and he will not allow me to say, okay, and I invite the whole world to give us lectures, and we pay all the travel costs. That's not possible. So, but what we said is, it's as we don't give away certificates, and it's hard to digest between, or let me say, to value between, is it a workshop or is it a paid training? And then you have to click on, okay, I want to go here, I want to get here. And in the end, you ended up with 5, 6 registered things. So now you have a full day all access ticket, which allows you to go to digest everything or to listen to everything which is in the hall, plus the conference center, or you go for a one-day ticket, which we don't recommend because it makes sense to really stay there. And Cologne is wonderful in the evening. There will be receptions, there will be things to be explored. So stay there for the whole week. And as you say, if you think about each of the courses, the training courses, is literally easily worth 200 euros or more. So that 4-day price ticket is really I think it's very fair.
You look at different events around the industry,
Yes.
and yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. So yeah, the ticket shop's there. Hopefully you won't get fed up with all the different things that we're going to be doing between now and the show. We'll be continually, keeping you updated with things that are going on, and all the different activities we have between now and the show. So we'll apologize in advance, but yeah, we want to give you as much information as possible, and really make sure that every single person who comes to European Rotors has the best experience ever. So yeah, we look forward to seeing you there. So we got a question. Somebody asked me to go back to the day one agenda.
Hi,
So we had a
John.
question from John. So I'll just quickly do that now.
By day one, that's a question. Are we talking day one symposium or day one show? Yeah, don't be sure when you book it, you see it right. Yeah, because you have a 1-day ticket which covers the EASA symposium, which will allow you to attend the show on Tuesday, but it includes the symposium.
So I think I'm just trying to see if I can get John to unmute himself. Unmute. John, maybe do you have a more specific question, if it's possible for you to speak? I don't know if that is, but okay. No, I don't think that.
So again, I mean, we can summarize. So day one, if you call it day one, because we do the show from 17th to the 20th, but exhibition is not open on Monday. It's the EASA symposium, and we have a preliminary agenda which will be published on the web, and then it's going to fill up over now the summer break. And the day one, if you talk about the Tuesday,
Which is this one.
Yes, we'll have the Rototon. It will have the Dach Innovation Day. We will start on best practices in the hall. We have the How to Say No workshops in the conference center. We have a full day of pilot skills, which we're gonna do as well. We do the finance and leasing topics, and we wrap it up in the afternoon with this, as I mentioned, provocative panel discussions about, are drones stealing your business, or is where can we use it complementary? Yes.
We covered John's question there, so that's great.
We did. Okay, that's great.
Peter had his hand up, but I can't find a way to unmute, because we can't. It's the way our WebEx setup is. We can't unmute participants. I don't know if you're able to put it in the chat, and we'll maybe just see if anybody's got any more questions to put in the chat. We'll just hang on another minute or so. It was good to see several new exhibitors from the US last year. Will we see them again in Cologne? Yeah, I think we have lots of repeat people coming back.
Absolutely. And we have to thank really the great work from VAI, our service provider, been doing. They have the network into US, so for sure they're gonna be with us. I mean, to start with Boeing. And all their brands like ForeFlight, Spectralab, they're gonna be with us, and yeah, that's clearly the fact.
Somebody asked us just to show the day 3 agenda again.
Yeah,
day three
will have more or less mainly women in aviation on one of the stages, because it's really worth
about that day. So there's the day 3. If you're, it's very complicated, I guess. Is day 3 of the whole thing is the Wednesday, which has the HEMS Day, sustainability, and lots of other things. And then the day 3 of the main show.
Is the day 4.
Yeah.
So the day 4, if you talk about on day 3 of exhibition, we'll have the career day, the women in aviation, some dedicated briefings in briefing rooms. The Rheinsaal sections will all sum up to be just one career fair. And again, each of you who is an employer, we really invite you at a very low price to have your booth there, or your chairs, and you roll up and to talk to the next generation enthusiasts in the rotorcraft scene. And we are working on that. It's this is not carved in stone. That, I mean, this is the status as of now. There
Yeah, it's
are
still
some
going to
prizes
evolve.
in the boxes which will come up and pop up over the next weeks, and we have it's a reason why we continue this webinars, because there is more stuff which we would like to discuss with you and show you in more details after summer break.
So we have one more question. Somebody just asking about reduced ticket prices.
Yes.
So will there be reduced tickets for students, authorities, etc.?
We have.
And that's what this operators, pilots, engineers, it's kind of more for the smaller individuals, isn't it? Or the smaller organizations and individuals.
Yeah.
So there's more information about that on the European Rotors ticket shop.
And I mean, time is running out. However, we still, if you have a fantastic idea, which you say, I don't see that in the educational program as of now, why don't you cover it? We may have a look on it. I mean, of course, I would say 80-90%.
Yeah, we've got a lot of things
we are
full, but
filled,
we still have some spaces, don't we?
But I mean, just for instance, there just this. Where is the eVTOL market going? If you follow me on LinkedIn, you may saw that I was talking to ERC and I visited them last week, and I said, we don't have any of that topic as of now, and now I'm talking to ERC. They will come up with one of their customers. I'm talking to ADAC because they're putting money into volocopter. I have a positive feedback from Gustavo Smeraldo from Lobo Leasing, because they work with Joby. So we have another panel creating up, because I realized over some visits that needs to be tackled. And so if you say, Frank, or John, I don't see this topic, it's of so much interest for us, can you bring it up? Of course we can do.
Yeah, I think that's a great way of doing it and discussing, a great way of having more options. And yeah, feel free, if anybody wants to contact us, we have our safety promotion mailbox, safetypromotion@easa.europa.eu, and Michelle and I can review that with Frank and the team. So yeah, so I think we've got lots of great few messages, people thanking us for a great presentation, so they obviously enjoyed it. We'll put the presentation and the this recording will be put on our YouTube channel. Well, certainly the recording will be put on the YouTube channel in the next couple of days, and then we'll get our event page up from the EASA page that will link to the European Rotors ticket shop, and we'll put the presentation there as well in case anybody wants a summary. And yeah, for sure we'll be talking a lot over the next 2-3 months about what the program is and making sure as it evolves it's clear for everybody. So yeah, thanks for being part of it, Frank, and this
thanks for the great
it was
preparation,
great to start.
John.
Yeah,
as usual, fantastic working with you, and thanks for everyone who took their lunch break time to join us.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye bye.